I didn't call him this morning and scrape it up a bit. Add a little bit of carbon deposits, also a little bit of the moisture that gets into the... Well, I could probably show you. I'm not going to because I have to disconnect the battery, but I can show you the parts. It's this part right here. You see this black piece? This is attached to a piece that has a cutout in it in the shape of a butterfly. This is where the key goes, and it twists that thing, and it goes to this thing that twists it, and this is where the electrical contact is made. Alright, when it comes to war, I always root for the home team. Always. The reason for that is because of a thing I learned about when I was a kid called the Constitution of the United States of America. I like the idea of it. In reality, it doesn't work, but the idea of it is great. The problem with we the people is when the people don't care, it's no longer we the people. When the people stop caring about their neighbors, when the people stop caring about the community, when the people stop caring about their own children. And that happens a lot. I know so many families that thought they were tight-knit until one of the kids turned 18, and you go, oh shit, I'm fucked. If you're the second kid in line or the third kid in line, you realize immediately you're SOL. We got a lot of people doing a lot of really screwed up things, and they think it's okay. Well, it is okay, because the rest of America looks away. I don't think that's right. We have the ability to help our own people. If we can send $80,000 a pop rockets to Ukraine, how many homeless people would that take care of here? Those of you who want to talk about world, what do you call that? Stability. You've never had that out of Russia. You're never going to get that out of Russia. Ukraine as a buffer state is not necessary. The thing here is that Russia is run by Putin. Sort of. And Putin, just like every other human being on the planet, is going to die. It's going to happen. Everyone dies. Although me saying that might start an international incident, because he can then pretend that I'm threatening his life and take me to court. Ask me how I know this. I've got experience. That's right. There are people who twist me speaking about how wrong killing is to try to pretend like I'm threatening their lives. Morons. Now, their actions have shown that my life is not safe. Nor are my loved ones. Their lives are not safe. Of course, Putin lives in Russia, so his life is not safe either. Now, those are called statements of facts. Those aren't threats either. They're not meant maliciously. They're meant as statements of fact. This is the reality of it. When it come to Afghanistan, I rooted for the Afghanis. Some of y'all might hate me for saying that. I didn't root for the Americans at all. The only hope I had for American soldiers is that they came home safe. I wasn't on the Taliban side either. The only hope that I had for their soldiers is they get home safe. The only people I rooted for were the Afghani people. Just like here in America, I'm rooting for the American people. Fuck the cops. The government can lick my chode. I don't care about them except for the fact that you idiots do what they tell you. There's a song by Rage Against the Machine about that. When it come to Iraq, I was not on America's side. Still ain't. That's Iraq. I'm on the Iraqi side. When it comes to Ukraine, that's Ukrainians. I'm on the Ukrainian side. But I'm on the children's side and the homeless side before I'm on any of your side, because they have nothing. Children don't have their own country. They don't have their own land. And if their protections are not observed, they get victimized, like I was, like Natalie was, like my older brother was, like Christine was, like Alicia was, like Maddie was. You guys got this idea in your head that we have to take America's side because we're American. No. America hasn't taken America's side. America has not sided with our government. The media has. It's easy to control a population using the media. Here's something that a lot of people don't know about Adolf Hitler. When it comes to the person that I like the least of the last century, that would be Adolf Hitler. The one I like the most is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Now, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Adolf Hitler are the two people that I go to most when it comes to understanding human beings. Adolf Hitler knew his shit. He was highly intelligent. Same thing with Dr. King. When it comes to my speech, I choose Dr. King and Adolf Hitler depending on who it is that I'm trying to get attention from. Now, that attention, for what reason do I need it? I think the question that should be asked is, for what reason do we the people need it? For what reason do we the people need some actual goddamn advocacy? Not just for me, not just for the homeless, but also for children. The largest voting population in America are parents. Guess who doesn't get to vote? Children. Guess who, out of all of the groups and socioeconomic classes that we have in America, guess who actually has it the toughest being able to vote? The homeless. Out of the people who have the right to vote, the homeless don't. All these poor areas that you're talking about where minorities don't get to vote, or it makes it real difficult for minorities to vote. Yeah, there's a lot of homeless minorities. There's also a lot of homeless white folks. There are a lot more homeless white folks than homeless minorities. And as far as the situation of poverty, those are my people. And all these folks, they understand the reality of the fact that we don't have any money. They can't take a bunch of time off of work to go to fucking court with me. A bunch of these people got kids. And they keep telling me they're going to help me, they're going to help me, they're going to help me, when it got to the point where they hadn't helped me, and I just needed them to admit that I had come to them for help. They kept on telling me that they couldn't keep their word because of their kids, because of their kids, because of their kids. You're damn right I'm going to try to understand that. But if you're not speaking up, that's a really screwed up situation, because you're allowing lies and slander to stand. Why did you lead me on for so long that you were going to help me? America already lost. We the people already lost decades ago. We watched them take away our Constitution. We let them. When it comes to all these people that we go to war with, it ain't on American soil. With us taking in as many refugees as we do, and we say, oh yes, we're rich enough, then we say, oh well, we don't have the money for our parks, we don't have the money for any of the infrastructure for the bridges throughout the country, we don't have money for this, we don't have money for that, we don't have money for helping Native Americans or Flint, Michigan with getting fucking water. And then we got people who want to shut the victims up and destroy evidence. They do their best. That doesn't stop me from speaking up. There are things that I have to do out of desperation. And you guys don't understand that because you're not living it. I feel bad for the people. Screw the soldiers. Screw the soldiers of any nation. What do the people want? I'm for Ukraine, and I am willing to give up my life to save Ukrainians. That don't mean I want to go shooting at Russians. I wouldn't mind being on the same battlefield without a rifle as long as I can rescue people from both sides. You give me the quickest field medic training you can give a guy, and I'll go out there and do my damnedest. I changed my profile information when it asked me where I'm from and where I live. I believe I put where I'm from is San Jose do Rio Preto, and I think it might have been Sao Paulo, I don't know. And the one that I picked for where I currently live, I picked Moscow, Russia. Obviously, I'm not in Moscow. Obviously, I'm not Russian. But fucking A, I'm ashamed to be an American. If all the nations in the world started putting sanctions on each other for their crimes against humanity, including the United States, started putting sanctions on one another for their cruelty towards each other, towards all of these past debts, who's going to suffer? We the people. Well, those guys don't suffer. Nope, not unless you have something like, I don't know, what happened in 1774. It's a good question. How about the French Revolution? That's a good one too. A lot of people lost their heads how far we'd come between then and the 1940s. From public beheadings to Goering being too fat to hang, so I'm pretty sure it was the Americans that slipped him a cyanide pill. If he'd have had so much as a 2-inch drop, that would have been enough to separate his head from his body. They weren't gonna hang him, despite the sentence. But the rest of them, oh yeah, for surely so. Uh, I got eye boogers and I'm crying. It's a weird combo because I'm poking myself in the eye with eye boogers. When it comes to all the death and the destruction and the mayhem, who is it that pays for it in Afghanistan? Who is still paying for it now? A whole bunch of orphans. And you guys want to talk about American orphans. And you know what? Rightly so. Rightly so. Mostly single-parent families, though, here in the United States. There aren't a whole lot of those kids that lost 2 parents to the war. Although there might be a few of them that lost 1 parent to the war and another to illness. But over in Afghanistan, Iraq, it's a lot more prevalent. What are the chances of there being mass shootings of people who supported the American invasion of Afghanistan? There's a pretty good chance of that. That's something America should have thought about before going in there. It didn't work out in Korea either. It didn't work out in Vietnam. I don't know why we keep getting into these kind of wars. Same shit as the Cold War. Now, with Putin getting older in his age, he wants to get the very first Russian capital. Does anybody know what the first Russian capital was? It was Kiev. That was the capital of the very, very first Russian Empire. In reality, it was some Vikings, Viking descendants, and some conglomerate empires. Or conglomerate states, I suppose. He might be trying to have himself some lasting legacy, just like most of our presidents. It's about their name with our American boys, and then we talk shit, don't we? Like that young man who is still missing from the Moskova. That's that Russian ship that was messing with Snake Island. I'm sure you remember that. I've seen a lot of really gross stuff. A body is a body. And yeah, I still care when somebody dies and they're just a body now. Just meat. Ain't nothing more to them. They don't have an electrical signal in their brain that's able to interact with us anymore. It's not interacting with their body anymore either. It's over. We can't bring back the dead. Now the fact is, for the glory of these old men's names, our children die. I have no children. I can do things that parents can't because of it. But I seem to be the only person that I know who understands that if we don't work together, we get nothing. Wouldn't it be nice if the Russian people just went, hey, screw it, I'm done with this crap? Wouldn't it be nice if American parents would say, hey, screw it, I'm done with this crap? Wouldn't it be nice if people worked together? No, they want nice things. They want to complain, but then they want pretty things. by the end of their lives, all of the people they could have worked together with to turn this into a wonderful place for everyone, including themselves and their offspring and their descendants. But no, you had to have that Corvette, didn't you? You hit that midlife crisis. You're like, man, I couldn't afford this when I was 22. But now I got this pimp ass job and this nice fucking house. I'm getting a big, nice cherry red Corvette. Oh, yay, huh? Do you think my grandpa Bruns cared about his family at all? I know he cared about his profits. He cared about his Corvette. He cared about sex. He cared about trying to hide the fact that he molested my mom. All right, he did more than just molest her. He spent a lot of money paying her and my Uncle Greg off. His nice house and expensive paintings and all sorts of other crap that he wanted in there. And sure, they're not expensive paintings like art museum, type stuff, but yeah, he liked expensive things. His gun collection, I mean, I hope that his gun collection was picked up by the government and destroyed. He had so many guns. Now, I'm not against people owning guns. I just don't think that anybody should have any of the ones that my grandpa had. And he got a lot of the collections that other family members that I had. My grandpa got their collections too, and they became felons. One by one. But my grandpa, man, he should have gone to prison when my mom was in, middle school. I don't know when my dad started, or when my grandpa started doing what he did to her. But we, the people, we're the ones that are having to live the fact that, well, America is really a greedy place. We teach people here to be greedy. We teach them to only think about themselves, and then that screws all of us. You giving people that advice is going to screw you over in the long run. Most of the people that told me stuff like that I knew in real life later needed my help. A lot of people gave me advice that they didn't follow. And I knew that they wouldn't when they gave me that advice. I told them, hey, is that what you'd do if you were in that situation? Sure, they all talk about how they would shoot somebody, but in the end, they try to do it the legal way. They just want to talk tough. They want to talk tough and sound tough. No, if you was tough, well, you just said you were going to do something and then done it. If you were tough, you would have accepted the consequences. I'm not willing to kill people. But when it comes to saving lives, there's quite a bit I am willing to do. Now, where the hell did I... There it is. Horrible way to smoke tobacco. Another thing that people are really not wanting to look at or pay attention to is that In my situation, they wanted to bounce back and forth between Facebook and the law, because the law and Facebook don't line up. One of the things that America was supposed to be founded on was a lack of censorship. If you're going to cut, well, one person gets to say whatever they want, doesn't have to prove anything. The other person has evidence, isn't even allowed to speak up in court. Who's going to win? How about if you prevent one of those people from going to court altogether? It's like in high school, right? You got somebody who's got to drive their bus to your town for a football game. You're so desperate for a win that you set a spike strip out in the middle of the road. And then, of course, you win. They didn't show up. They forfeit. You advance. Or having the local sheriff arrest the bus driver and any adults present and then put all the kids in foster care. That's a good one. That'd keep them all from going to that game or any other game for a while. Of course, that'd be all over the news, wouldn't it? Would people care? Here in America? Oh no, somebody'd try to put some spin on it. Or the cops are the good guys for getting involved in a football game like that. And here's the thing. When I hear people praying for a win, I always think to myself, you know what, if I saw Jesus come down and mess with a football game like that, it wouldn't matter if it was a bearded man in a dress, like Jesus, or a clean-shaven man in a uniform with a badge and a gun. That's a fucked up thing to do. Am I wrong? I believe that there is a possibility for fair play. But that's not what we have now. Your guys' excuse is either somebody's got it worse elsewhere, which is a horrible, horrible excuse. Oh shit, you got all sorts of excuses. When it comes to someone's house, you know, I'm, for the most part, on the side of the person in the house. That doesn't mean that a person in the house won't screw up. And it doesn't mean that somebody in the house won't take advantage of someone. I know plenty of homeless people, and I know plenty of people in houses, and I know a lot of people in houses who took advantage of people who were homeless. I also know a lot of homeless people who took advantage of people in houses. People do desperate things. They really do. When people get desperate, it's for a reason. If you got somebody who only cares about sex and money, and they use that money for buying sex, and now they don't have any money, they're desperate for money, ain't they? How about if you've got somebody who hasn't eaten in 3 days? They're going to be pretty desperate for food, ain't they? How about somebody who's getting dehydrated? They're going to be, well, getting desperate for water. And the longer the day goes through for somebody who's already at the point of desperation, the more desperate they're going to get. we get to see the cause and effect of old men's glory. It's your sons and daughters dying. It's their sons and daughters dying. It takes a lot of planning, a lot of hate, and a lot of anger to stage an effective coup. Usually. There are people who benefit from the way that it is enough that they're willing to kill people to keep it this way. So if someone tries to change it, you get to see what happens to them. People try to kill them. There's a lot of different places in the world where people are killing each other. I'd say that's not our business, but it really is. That it is America's biggest business right now. Our wartime products and our troops. But it's all wrong. That's a bunch of old people's glory from different nations across the world. It's their names that are put up all over the place. It's their names that'll be put in the history books, but it's your sons and daughters that got their heads blown off to do it. Stupid. We're lucky we got two big-ass oceans. We're lucky that on the North American continent, we're actually friends with Mexico and Canada. That's what a lot of these ignorant rednecks don't get. I mean, how many people go on vacation to Mexico every year? How many seasonal workers come up here to the United States every year? I'd say that's a fair fucking trade. Those of you who want to say, well, that's all money that's going to Mexico, not always. There's a lot of things that happen when you have international travel and language barriers that you choose to overcome. Most of the folks in South America, there's no animosity there with the United States. I mean, sure, we keep sticking our nose in Panama, so I wouldn't imagine that most of Panama would be happy with us. We keep sticking our nose in Chile's business. Of course, I love the smell of chili. Alright, that wasn't funny. We got different nations down there that, you know, we want to fight the whole drug war and talk about the whole drug war and all this, that, and the other. But the people themselves, most of them just living their lives. Sure, they can have opinions individually on whatever they want. They're human, same as you. They have opinions, same as you. They have emotions, same as you. They love their kids. They love their parents. Some of them don't. Some of them do. There's going to be people who grew up in such screwed up environments in other countries that they don't love their parents either. Anyway, I'm going to end this video. I'm on the side of the people. I'm not on the side of any individual group. Good to be rid of you. Thanks for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper and no victim left behind.